All right, I see there's 4 people here, but sadly, I chose the wrong camera, which means I have to disconnect, and I wish this would let me switch cameras. That's the most frustrating part about using this tech. All right, so I think you guys can hear me. I assume you can, but I'm going to have to disconnect and then post up a new live chat stream because I can't use the camera on my computer. I have to use the camera over here, which is not connected. And you're not able, once you're started the live stream, you're not allowed to switch the cameras. Can you guys hear me? Can you see me? All right, so what I'll do is I'm going to make a new live stream, and I'll post the new link up on the Google Classroom, and I'm so frustrated with myself. All right, but I make mistakes lots of times. So I'm going to end this, and I'm going to post a new live stream. And for those of you who came from another place, maybe I'll just make the live stream now. So right now you're staring at me doing nothing. I know. Just give me a moment. And I'm going to create a new live stream. Go live. So you can't see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to talk at what I'm doing. I'm on my YouTube page. And I am going to click on webcam. And I'm going to make Wild Wednesday week 6. Arthropod. Making sure I spell it right. Take 2. No, it's not made for kids. I'm going to say schedule it for later. So I'm going to schedule it at 12:30, 12:40. And I'm going to go to more options. Make sure the right camera is selected this time. Make sure the right microphone is selected. Click next. And I'm going to grab the link, go live. All right, so now I'm going to grab the link so I can share it with you guys. And hopefully I can figure out, there it is, copy. And go back to the other live stream where you guys are sitting at. And I'm going to paste it. So that's a live stream you want to go to. All right, I'm going to end this stream because I'm streaming 2 things at once. So who knows how that's looking. So anyone coming in, please go to the link above for the correct camera and live stream. And then now let's go to my classes. I'll take one more moment here and post a new announcement. Add YouTube, get a link, add, post to all the classes, grade 10, grade 11, post. All right, and then share it with these guys. For those of you walking in and wondering what's happening, I did a slight mistake. address. Right, so I'm going to end the stream here. Hopefully the chat still works. I'm going to let it run for a couple of minutes. So those of you who are in, hey, Mr. Ross, how are you? I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking. Apart from the fact that I made a slight mistake here when I chose the wrong camera, how's my stream looking? Am I smooth? Am I glitching? What's happening here? Can you let me know? I can see your actual camera. Hey, Mr. Ross, how are you? I'm doing well. Two of you asked me how I'm doing. I see that there's a few of us in here. So if one of you or several of you can tell me on this new chat here where my hand is, it's smooth and my voice is coming through, okay? Loud and clear? Is that a yes? Smooth? All right. So I'm going to leave the other active for the moment. And I'm going to start. So this week, I wanted to focus on arthropods. And I want to give a shout out to, I live in the country. I think I've said that every single time. And maybe I'll shine it on myself. Oh, there we go. And out here in the country, we don't have a lot of stores right really close. So the closest store, if I want to shop for milk and eggs and bread and all those kind of things, let's say a Walmart or for Tino's or a Sobeys, I have to, it's over a 10-minute drive. And walking is out of the question. Biking, it'd be a long bike ride. So, but it so happens that about 3 kilometers down the road, I live beside the farm that holds the pets for national reptiles. And they run a lot of expos, typically 2 or 3 a year. Clearly there's something happening at the moment. And they're the same place that delivers crickets. So when I couldn't get pizza delivery or Chinese delivery, I could get cricket delivery. And so they generously, I said, anytime we need any animals to show and talk about, then they're happy to oblige. So today, because we're focusing on arthropods, I did borrow some arthropods from them, as well as some arthropods that I have. And one of them normally stays at Suzuki. So I'll pull her out first. I'll pull out Agatha, so you guys can see Agatha again, right? So thanks, National Reptiles. They're also called Fauna Canada. They're also called Port Credit Reptiles, I think. I forgot to double check the name. Yeah, loud and clear. All right, so let's pull out Agatha first. So over here in this tank, we're focusing on arthropods. So grade 11s especially, you'll notice that this whole week is about diversity. And in diversity, we're looking at protists, we're looking at fungi, and we're looking at animals. And in the animal kingdom, there are several phyla. So you start from sponges, the periphera, and went all the way up to chordates, which is most of the animals I have in here. But the most populous phyla is the arthropods. So when you go down kingdom, animals, phylum, Arthropoda, and then subphylum, which is 4, because arthropods are so big, and then into class, the arthropod subphylum, so the arthropods phylum is so large that it's divided into subphylum. And then let me just take out Agatha here. So Agatha is a Chilean rose tarantula. And she is large for a spider, but small for a tarantula. So we got a pillow here, so it's going to be on my knees a lot, I think. And let me just zoom in here. Come back to my table here. And we'll zoom in. Focus. All right, so she is a Chilean rose, and this particular tarantula is small for a tarantula, small but large for a spider. And the nice thing about these, if you ever consider going into having a tarantula as a pet, these ones are great because they're docile, they're relatively slow, so when they move around, some tarantulas will speed and they'll just be gone, and you can't handle them very well. But this one here, it moves slowly, and she'll move. Right. Let's do a little further. See a little bit more detail. You can see her eyes. So she belongs to arthropod subphylum Chelicerate. And the class is the arachnids. And so for arachnids, most of you have probably heard of these spiders, clearly, but there's other arachnids I'm going to show you today as well. And arachnids are characterized by the number of legs that they have. So they have quite a few legs, 8. And they also have a number of eyes. They typically have a set of eyes on the left, a set of eyes on the right, and then some eyes on the very top. So I get her to just walk a little bit here. I'll zoom back out again. So we're in class. This is Agatha. This is the one that you guys would handle because she's easy to handle. And as long as you guys are not scared of her and do those, really jerky motions, then everything will be fine, right? So you got the 8 pairs of legs at the front, the pedipalps. The mouth parts are chelicerae. So if I were to have her upside down, I have some nice pictures that I'll put up online so you can see her moving around. If you guys have any questions about this, so I'm going to tell you the names of a couple of these animals, but I want you to tell me the names as I pull them out or show them to you, okay? So tarantulas like all spiders, it has spinnerets at the back, and that spinneret allows it to spin its web. But this is not like a funnel or an orb weaver. It spins a web, and it kind of makes a nest mass, and depending on the type of tarantula, if something walks over that nest mass, it might come out, but it's not your classic orb weaver that has a web that catches flies, like Charlotte's Web or something like that. Okay, so that's Agatha. Let's see if I can change the angle slightly so you can see the front of her. When spiders get a little bit more aggressive, what will happen is they'll lift their front legs or their pedipalps even, and they'll put them in a threatening position, so they'll be really high. So she's fine. Right? She's perfectly fine. Like I said, these are nice pets to have, these ones here, because they're so docile and you can handle them. If you want to handle a tarantula, then you stick with the smaller tarantulas like this one. You can see her nicely spread out. Also, the females tend to be a little bit more, a little less aggressive than the males. The males tend to be a little bit more aggressive. Any questions about her before I put her back? Going once. You're still with me, right? Okay. Remember, even though I'm live streaming and I cannot see what's happening right now, often I think it's just a big black hole and that I'm just transmitting into who knows where. So if you guys have questions or comments, it's always good for me to see so that way I can respond to them and know your audience helps you engage a little bit better. Okay. So hopefully you can see her eyes there at the top. Come a little closer. Someone asked, why so furry? So these hairs, tarantulas are really interesting. So tarantulas, a lot of people are afraid of the tarantulas because they're so big. And they do have these relatively large chelicerae, biting mouth parts. And a large tarantula, if it were to bite you, I've been told it's like getting nails driven through your palm or something like that, a large tarantula. But a lot of the tarantulas, they have these hairs, and these hairs are slightly venomous, meaning that they can throw them. So depending on the species of tarantula, some of them can actually flick their hairs in certain direction. And depending on the speed, like there's some spiders, I suggest you look them up, and they tell you not to get them as a pet, but people just don't listen, and they get injured because they'll flick these hairs and they go in your eye, like little tiny little steel barbs. They'll release a little venom, and it will cause an irritation, and it can really hurt. So a lot of tarantulas are not dangerous because of the bite. They're more dangerous because of the ability to flick the hair. Okay, so I'm going to put her down. Her back. So you guys can see what's in here. So she's got this little tank here, little water bowl, and she's the safest. I'm going to close this back up. I put the lid somewhere, and I don't know where, so I'm just going to put her down without the lid. That's okay, because she doesn't climb out. All right, let's go to the next tarantula. So this tarantula, we bought older tarantulas. We bought almost all our animals from breeders, and we also buy them when they're babies. So they're spiderling, so they're the size of my thumb. Yay small. This next one, I believe I know what it is. I'm not exactly sure, though. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to look at this spider. I do not handle the spider. I brought actually a whole bunch of stuff here in case I wanted to kind of pull this one out, but because I'm not exactly what the species is, I didn't want to take a chance of, injuring myself, is what it came down to. So I'm just going to zoom back out so you guys can see what's going on. I'm going to turn this around. So you can see inside the cage. I'm going to lift this up. So this tarantula is a little bigger. So I'm just going to leave it over here, I guess. Bring my camera a little bit closer. And we're going to look at this one here. So what I want you to do, and we do this little activity here, we're only going to be together for like 15 more minutes or so. I want to see if you can, this one here is not spread out. Tarantula. This one, it's still going to develop some color, but a little bit more color in this, like a little bit of purple. And it's got those yellow bands on its legs. Right now it's in the small kind of clumped up version. It's not spread out. So it is a larger tarantula. It's about twice the size, 50% larger than Agatha. Zoom more here. Get a nice look at her. So you can understand why I'm not comfortable handling this one if I don't know what species. I believe I know what it is, and if I am correct, then it's a relatively quick spider, meaning that if I do handle it and it's not happy, it will run. And then catching those spiders are not easy to do, and then I might threaten it, and then it might bite, and who knows what else might happen. Okay, so she's in there. So I'm just gonna come back to this view, zoom in so you can see her. Read your comments. The stream is lagging significantly, sir. Oh, cool. Well, let me know when it stops, because sadly, in our reality here, at 12:30, which evidently wasn't a good time, Christine is teaching a class, and Darian is taking a class. So there's three of us online using their bandwidth all at the same time. So, it wasn't necessarily the smartest decision. So hopefully it'll stop lagging. And we'll be okay. But I guess we'll find out. If it lags too much, I'll just stop, and maybe I'll try to pick a different day. Maybe 12:30 in my house is not the best time. All right. So let me know if it's not lagging anymore. So here is the spider. I just want you to see how big it can be. Right? You see how big that is? That's a large spider. Are you guys still with me? Have I stopped lagging? White-kneed tarantula. All right, pratique. Yes, this is a knee tarantula of some sort. And it's clear because of the coloration on the knees. Yes, it's fine at the moment. Okay, good. It's a lot better. All right, so now you can see the size of this one. This one's a much larger spider, and I just don't want to handle it. Okay. This one, when I put the lid on, because at nighttime it climbs up here somewhere, I put a big giant bowl on top to make sure that it can't escape or push out, because that's kind of frightening to come down to the zoo room. Choco golden knee. Yeah, it's a kneed tarantula, some kind of white kneed, striped kneed tarantula of some type. Okay. All right. So I'll go one more time. I'll zoom in here. You guys can get that last before I move on to the next one. There she is. Auto zoom, auto focus. Still difficult running this by myself. There you go. There it is. Okay. All right. Next. So put this back in. Jump on me. All right. Next. This next one, I'm not going to tell you the name. You're going to tell me the name. This one I can handle. I'll tell you that this one is often mistaken for a scorpion. It's not a scorpion. And it's found in various regions of the world. And one of the things that this can do as a defensive measure, it's able to, it's drinking water right now, so I want you guys to see what it looks like when it's drinking water. There we go. I'll focus. This one here I can handle. So anyone have any idea what that is? And some of you do know because you're in my class before. So you definitely know from being in my class before. Don't write it down. For those of you who don't know, try to take a guess. It's not a scorpion, but it's often mistaken for a scorpion. I want you to know that everything I'm showing you today, they're all arthropods. Okay, pseudoscorpion, no, we're not going to call it pseudoscorpion. These are all arthropods. They all belong to the arthropod phylum, and they all have segmented joints, right? That's the jointed appendages. So that's a characteristic of these arthropods. Insect is the classic one, and spider is a classic one, but I'm showing you some others that you might not normally see. So I saw pseudoscorpion, apple-sided scorpion, no. Gold, okay, so I'll have 2 guesses here. I'm going to pull this one out so we can see what it looks like when it's a little bit more splayed. So this one, you're like, what are you doing? Exactly. Just need to get it to crawl on me here. Don't want to feel threatened. Okay, so when this feels threatened, it has the ability to spray an acid from its abdomen. And you're probably wondering what's going to make it feel threatened. After all, I just picked it up and I kind of manhandled it. So take a look at this one. This is really interesting again. It looks a lot like a scorpion, especially for those who've not seen a scorpion, but it doesn't have the stinger. It has a really fine tail. And so it's able to spray this thing that smells like vinegar. This acid is like acetic acid and smells a lot like vinegar. So that's a big hint as to what animal this is, right? And what's really cool is to watch them eat, because their mouth parts are very distinctive. You kind of can't miss them. So let's grab a cricket and I'll just start munching on that cricket. A vinegaroon, excellent. So this is a vinegaroon. So if you look up vinegaroon or you look up whip scorpion, you'll see this. You'll see this animal. So it's more correctly called a vinegaroon, of which there is like 150 species of them. But the vinegaroon or whip scorpion here is named because of the fact when it feels threatened, it will spray an acid-like, it's mildly irritating, an acid-like spray to deter anything that might harm it. So once again, you can see its legs, and then you can see its pedipalps. And its front legs here have been modified, so it holds them up often, and it feels around the environment. It's looking for food. It doesn't really rely on sight. Its eyes are really poor, so it's nocturnal, a dusk kind of animal. That's when it's moving around more so. Okay, so that's your vinegaroon. I'm just going to see if we can get this view here. Rotate. And let's see if we can get a nice close view of what it looks like from the front here. There it is. Like, where is it? There it is. That's the vinegaroon. I'm not the best person with the camera, it seems. Okay, next. That's your vinegaroon. So I'm going to put that one back. Zoom out here. Put this one back. I was drinking water, being all happy a moment ago, so let's let it be happy. So next, the vinegaroon is often confused with a couple of others. This is the one that's most commonly confused with. And this is make sure you guys don't see the name here, so you guys can tell me what this is. It's another one I'm not going to handle. And if you go online, you'll see all sorts of people are like, oh, I'm going to handle this. And then they're like, I hope I don't get stung. So let's see if you guys can figure out what this is. This should be an easy one. There you go. So what do I have here? What does that look like? Anybody, what is this animal here? I'll go to the side view. Might be a little bit easier to see that distinctive tail. So what animal is this one here? This is another arthropod, and it's another arachnid characterized by 8 legs, the pedipalps, the chelicera biting parts, but the tail is very distinctive. What animal is this? It is the most popular scorpion pet, the largest of the scorpions in North America. That's correct. And this one here, if I was more comfortable and I knew more about this animal, then maybe I'd handle it. I just don't want to be stung. The sting evidently is a lot like a bee sting. So let me just pull it out here very gently. I don't want to harm it. I'm just going to let it come out. Okay, let it come out here so you can see it walk around a bit. There we go. So there. I'll zoom out so you guys can see what I'm doing because I'm off camera here. Here's the scorpion. So that's a desert hair scorpion. And they're also very interesting. They don't like the sun. If you got a black light or UV light, you can watch them glow in the dark. Typically blue is what you'll see with cameras. And they have these little bristles on their tail that they can use as light sensors. And so they can detect when the sun is shining. And as long as the sun's shining, they'll stay underneath the ground and they'll come out once the sun goes down. So they're another dusk animal. They're very hardy arthropods, meaning that they can withstand wide ranges of temperature. And the larger ones will eat other scorpions as well as small mammals and other bugs that are out there. So you can see there, I'm kind of annoying it. And so that tail is like, ooh, just waving that tail, just waiting to sting this thing that's annoying it, which is me, right? So you can see it's in that classic posture, ready to do whatever it needs to do to protect itself. So like I said, this is not one of the scorpions that you'll find in other parts of the world that I have to be worried about that's going to hurt me. It's the sting, like I said, the sting isn't much like a bee sting. Desert hairy scorpion was correct. Okay, so that's a scorpion. So that's another. So that's one that often gets confused with the vinegaroon. Vinegaroon often gets confused with this, but they're not the same. That tail is very distinctive. You can't mistake that tail and that stinger that's there at the end. Okay. So this can grow much larger. So I'm just going to let this go back in the box here, and we're going to look at the next one. All right. Like I said, if I was more comfortable, and I would let this crawl on me, but today's not that day. Today's not the day that a scorpion is going to crawl on me. If I get stung, it's not going to be on camera. You don't need to see me cry. All right. So I just got to put that one on the side here. Next, also another arachnid, often confused with the classic scorpions, is this one here. Make sure you guys don't see the name here. This one here I can handle. All right. So I'm going to turn the light on because this one's really dark, so it's hard to see. Put it on the table. Lots of crickets in here, so I'm going to get crickets escaping my room now. It's okay. All right, what do you think? What is that? Any takers? Anyone know what this is here? I need to go a bit closer. What is this one here? Okay, so this one is like a cross between a crab, a scorpion, and a spider. The small ones are like this size. The big ones can be about 25, 27 centimeters. You always see pictures of people with these crawling on their faces, kind of scary looking, but they are not scary. They are not harmful to humans. So any takers on what this might be? trying to bring it nice and close so you guys can. Get a good picture. Okay, any takers on what this is? Not a harvestman. Harvestmans are like really thin spiders. Harvestmans is another name for daddy longlegs. This is not that. This is much thicker. Any other takers on this one? A lot of people go to India. We'll see a lot of these. They're very common in India and other parts of the world. But as I know, a lot of the population at our school has been there. So this one here, I can handle. So letting it crawl around a bit. Notice I'm poking. It's also quite fast. It can be fast. Tailless whip scorpion. All right, that's what it is. It's a tailless whip scorpion. That's what we have here. Tailless whip scorpion. So they're very interesting animals. And a lot of people like having them as pets because you can handle them if you want, and they're not going to hurt you. Right? They don't have a sting. They don't have a bite that's going to hurt a human. So they're nice pets to have as well. On this table here, you might see I have some pictures of relatively large arthropods. Goliath, giant, bird-eating spider. That's huge. The Goliath beetle is the heaviest of our beetles. There we go. So there we go. This is a very large beetle. So these beetles can grow quite large in size. Fortunately, I don't have a real one, but this is a great model. So it was real. It's just they got pinned after they captured, or they caught it dead, pinned it, and put it on display here. Now, as we talk about diversity, one of the things that we see in the arthropod kingdom is a huge diversity. And a lot of these arthropods are able to adapt in such a way that they are able to hide away from potential predators or hide themselves so they can capture their prey more easily. And so here's a classic one that does an amazing job of hiding. So what's that one there? Any takers on this one? This one's kind of an obvious one. For those who know anything about arthropods, this one here is pretty obvious. So this is a particular kind of insect. So it belongs to Hexapoda. It has 3 legs, 2 pairs of wings, antenna, uniramus. Any takers on what animal this one is here? When they're waiting for their prey, when they're trying to avoid being eaten, they often will flutter on a branch so they look like a leaf shaking in the wind. Leaf insect, yes. And a leaf insect is correct. And then we have this one here. Look at the colors on this. So what's amazing is that we can have these colors in nature without adding synthetic or artificial dyes. So that's a pretty remarkable butterfly. Giant Malaysian leaf insect. Yes, that's accurate. So this here is a particular butterfly. I don't know if you guys can find the name of this one, but it's pretty common because of the stark coloration of it. That bright blue, it's hard to miss. So anyone who studies butterflies, this is one that they would know immediately. And anyone who doesn't, kind of like the way we know monarch butterflies, this is a very distinctive butterfly. So any takers on that one? No takers on that butterfly? It's all right. How about this here? Now we're getting to some real sleuthing here because I'm not giving you any hints. Let's take the camera a little further away here. What do you think this one is? Take out the lamp. Make sure you can see the whole body. Come back a little closer. All right, what do we think this one is here? Flying cockroach. It kind of looks like it, but it's not. That would be scary. Having a cockroach that big. I mean, there's those giant hissing cockroaches out there, but even they're not this big. This is a relatively large. There's another insect. There's another flyer that if it were to land on you, many of you would freak out, even though you shouldn't. So blue morpho, Kavisha, good. That butterfly was a blue morpho. Excellent. And Kriti, you said morpho. He's told me the scientific name. Nice. So this was a tougher one. There's not as many distinctive features here for you to look up to figure out what this is. And I'm not going to tell you, right? So you can take a screenshot if you want or something and do a little bit of research and tell me. Sadly, my light above the screen is reflecting. So you guys are not getting the best image here. And I can't use that either. All right. And one more. How about this one? The spider. Another large spider. Another large spider here. So I'll give you an idea of how big it is. There's my hand. Right. So it's a little smaller than my hand, this one here. Titanus giganticus. I think you just made that up. You're putting US's at the end of English words and just saying that's a name. Nice try, but no, sorry, that's not it. So these are very large arthropods. So this one here is another arachnid. So what have I shown you here? I've shown you several arachnids. I've shown you the vinegaroon, which you guys discovered. There was the need spider, the white need spider. There was the Chilean rose, the rose hare. There was the leaf insect you guys were able to tell me about, the whip scorpion, which you had an opportunity to see, and the blue morpho. So we saw a lot of these arthropods, and they're all so different. Each one has a different body and different physiology that allows it to be very successful in the environment that it lives in. Going back to this picture here, this poster I have down on the ground, when someone mentioned a cockroach, I just want to show you. This is not a life size. Imagine that was. But the cockroach here is, sadly, a very common insect in North America, around the world, as a matter of fact. So we have a bunch of different cockroaches here. There's the American cockroach, there's a German cockroach, the giant hissing cockroaches. Those are probably the three most common that we're used to seeing. The last thing I have in here, and they're over to the left, and you guys have seen them already, is the crickets. So the crickets are my feeders. It's what I feed to most of the animals that are inside my zoo room. Some of you maybe want to see what a molt looks like. So here's the molt of the, you can tell which spider it is, right? So if I just left it on the desk and you guys walked in, you'd probably assume that that was a spider. So one of the features of arthropods is that because they wear their skeleton on the outside of their body, they have to basically break out of their skin, their exoskeleton, in order to grow. So they molt. The molting that arthropods do is different than the molting that reptiles do, like a snake or a lizard. But we do use the same name. So this molt here, whoops, oh, fell down, is just the part of the life process of these animals. All right, so that's it for the arthropod edition. I've shown you quite a few arthropods, grade 11s. We're going to talk about some of those arthropods in the upcoming days. You'll be able to use some of that information for your end of week project if you'd like. There's a number of organisms I mentioned here. Oh, I want to show you this. Wish I had one of these. Look at this Hercules beetle. It's huge, right? Or how about the giant stick insect? You see the tail of it underneath the spider here. So I'm going to take a picture of this poster and put it up online as well. But at the end of the week for my grade 11s especially, you guys have that project that you're working on where you're going to pick something that's really cool and interesting in biodiversity. And some of these might be good examples, or maybe you'll use something different. If there's any last questions, I'll answer them. Are cockroaches even important? Of course, every organism is important in some way. We know it's a whole part of the ecosystem, so they do play a role. Titan beetle. That's the scientific name, I swear. Okay. All right, guys, is there any more questions before I sign off? It looks like at 1:15, I'm doing a live lesson with my grade 10s. I don't know if any of them are here. It doesn't look like it. Going once, going twice, no other questions? Well, since there are no other questions for me, oh wait, no. Let's not sign off. Oh, there's two other things I have to show you. Oh, almost forgot. All right, so the larvae of insects. So I wanted to go over this as well because this is like a part of the major learning of our course that we're supposed to be doing. Is that some insects have a completely different larval stage than the adult. So butterflies and moths, it's common. Flies and beetles, like caterpillars, or this waxworm here, are the larvae of butterflies and moths. Grubs are the larvae of beetles, and maggots are the larvae of flies. So this here is a larva of an insect of some sort. Right? So this is going to end up being a wax moth. And so a container of them. And over here is superworms. I have these because they end up being feeders. I feed them to the reptiles we have in here. Oops, maybe that didn't make it less. These we call superworms. So again, they're named for the larval stage, which is kind of weird, but they represent a larva of a beetle. And as long as you keep them together, mixed up with a whole bunch of their other superworms, then what you'll find is they'll stay in this larval form. Once you separate them and they get all isolated, then they'll pupate and turn into a beetle, a darkling, a species of darkling beetle. And these superworms are not to be confused with the mealyworm. They're different because the superworm has that dark coloration. Right now it's going backwards. So its head's on this side. Its head's on, he's not moving backwards, it's kind of moving all over the place. But the tail is dark. So that's a very distinctive feature of these particular larvae. So this is a beetle larva. So we'll turn into a beetle once it pupates. And so we keep it in here. So there's a whole bunch of them in here that we use for feeding animals. That's kind of creepy for some of you. All right. And my favorite, and I wish I had time to tell the story, but I don't because I'm already late. But my favorite, so my earliest memories of animals and playing with them is with ants. So in here, I have a queen. There's a queen ant. I don't know if I can focus on this that well. Formica. So this black ant, there's a queen ant in here, and once I give it a proper home and some food, it's been wintering, has some workers that are going to help it, it is able to produce a colony of many, many, many ants. This is an interesting little contraption here, right? So they got water, cotton swab, so they can get their water from the swab. Their home, which is typically underneath and separated from the light by this tin foil. And then there's a piece of cork with a hole punctured through it, and then the food will go in. The food will go right in this area. So that's pretty cool. So we're going to make a formicarium, and the ant colony is here. So I just need to get the formicarium ready for them, and then we'll be set. All right, guys, I got to go. It's been a pleasure, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.